Hey guys, it's your girl Carnival Lucy, and I am here to talk about my experience for my first carnival of the season, and that was Jamaica Carnival 2024. I'm basically going to rate this review off the following. These are going to be what I rated off of. So it's going to be overall experience, distribution, costume production, and the overall road experience. I will insert clips of distribution. I'm gonna insert clips of distribution in the later part of this video, but I want to say my overall experience going to Jamaica Carnival for the first time, I would give my experience probably a 6.2. And I guess because I haven't gone into the other things that I based it off of, it'll make a little more sense once I go over everything else. So distribution for my carnival costume, I will preface this with the band that I went with this year was Gen X Carnival, or Gen X Jamaica Carnival. I went because, brand loyalty. If you guys watch my videos on Instagram, you would know that I am a huge David Dewar fan of his work, and that was the band that he worked with this year for Jamaica Carnival, so that is why I ended up with that band in particular. The distribution that happened, I actually gave my costume, I gave authorization for my friend to pick up, for the simple fact that I knew I was coming into Jamaica in the evening on Thursday. And I knew Friday would be a madhouse basically, because then whoever's left over would essentially be trying to get their costume as well if they weren't able to collect either Wednesday or Thursday. So I gave my friend authorization to pick up. From their experience and what I heard, distribution, I'm going to give a calm 5 to 6 on this, for the simple fact that they arrived there around 2 p.m. and did not leave until closer to 7 o'clock. If you're asking people to make appointments to pick up their costumes, I would assume that you have a system where you would then pack said costumes. And how it was explained to me, it was more so you sat down, you checked in, you sat down. When your name was called, that's when they started assembling your box for your costume, which I found very peculiar, but neither here nor there. Whatever their system was, it obviously was not working for the Friday, because that's when I actually was able to go to distribution, for the fact that two of the girls that I traveled with, their costumes, or rather their bras, weren't really to size, and they came in for an exchange. In which case I was able to see the full out experience. I'm going to put a clip of what I have of the actual distribution experience. More so that me being the observant person that I am, saw that there were a lot of people in the space. There were a lot of people lined up outside of the space that Friday morning when we arrived at around 11. And there were influencers that arrived around the same time, if not a little later, and they were able to either A, go to a representative right away, and B, in and out and off the premises within an hour, while there were people who spend their hard-earned money, literally thousands of dollars on their costume, and sat there for quite some time waiting to be called. And I felt like that was a little, like, if you're basically going to tell me that my payments and my money does not matter here, don't be so blatant about it in my face. Just me. What I did appreciate about distribution, because it wasn't all bad, like I said, from what I heard from the day prior, David was there at distribution, like working his behind off to make sure that everyone who was in his section received their costumes. If there were any immediate issues, he was there to address it. And I feel like more designers should follow suit, because at the end of the day, this is your brand, and how the experience is, whether if the band itself is going to leave a lasting experience or you yourself as the designer, I feel like that's very imperative. So kudos to him for being there, making sure that he was helping with the process. Once again, addressing any issues right then and there. I was very appreciative to hear that. But as far as, like I said, what I saw myself on the Friday, there were people who were getting their costumes brought out to their vehicle, while the general public was there to pretty much fend for themselves, which was quite wild in my opinion. So distribution, that's the number that I gave. Costume production itself. So now there were some situations by the time we collected our backpacks. My friend's backpack barely made it to the road by the Sunday that we were out there, and we collected from Thursday. And when I say that these costumes were not even tampered with, we brought them home, we set them down on the dining room table of the Airbnb and did not touch them literally until the night before. And by then we had feathers, whole pieces of the backpack falling off. I had a couple pieces missing from mine, to the point where my friend had to then go to Carnival Glam Hub and have a seamstress so generously hot glue gun the pieces back onto the backpack. So production wise, I want to give that probably a 7, more like a 6.8. I feel like for me to test my costume and put on my wire bra and do like 3 jumps and something falls off, that's a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. And like I said, I love my designer to death. I just felt as though the production either might have been rushed or like someone was sleeping on the job. But like I said, it's your brand. You want to go on the road, and there were plenty of pieces of costume that I stepped on the route, and I feel as though designers should be very mindful as to who they entrust with the costumes that they have mass produced. So I once again didn't have that experience when I purchased a costume with the designer previous, so I just figured this is a matter of mass production. Jamaica is a way larger carnival than Cayman, which is where I got my costume from David first. So I'll just chalk it up to that, because otherwise the designs are amazing, and like I said, I've never had any issues previous. Now to the actual road experience. This number that I'm going to come up with also is attached to what I will discuss in the next video regarding Carnival Glam Hub and their services that were rendered, because that is what impacted my actual road experience. So the road experience itself, let's call it 5.5, and that's being generous at this point. Mostly being, I spent the majority of the actual road time at Carnival Glam Hub trying to get service, a VIP service that I was given, that did not give very important person. We weren't told that the last set of shuttles for that service would be around 12 p.m. So, being there for that extended amount of time, we missed the shuttles, therefore had to now trek to wherever our band was, in this big old Kingston setup. So, road experience, only thing I could get off the drink truck was water. The servers on the drink truck were very stush, and it seems as though like the liquor was gonna come out of their pocket. And that was the same issue that I had during Juve as well. In terms of trying to get a drink, there was literally one server in particular who basically rolled their eyes and was just like, yeah, I'm not serving you. Which, kind of crazy if you're spending, like I said, X amount of dollars for an experience. You're going with a band that has a reputation of providing good customer service, and that is the exact opposite in which I received. So that's kind of where I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I will be parched, or no, I can have water. So between that, and because I was also getting services from Carnival Glam Hub, I met with another masquerader, and their experience even trying to get lunch or getting food in general was that she didn't even select the option of Jamaican, which is probably the majority option that people had selected. She selected Chinese option, and she said by the time she got to the front of the line, there was only rice. So Gen X actually was running out of food the entire weekend. We didn't get lunch. We had to hurry up to be one of the first people for dinner, and even by the time I got on the dinner line, those boxes of KFC were dwindling. And then even for, which is once again not part of the actual day of the parade, but let's just throw that in there, the boat ride that was powered through Gen X also ran out of food on that. So I'm not understanding that you're collecting people's money. You have a total count of how many participants that you have. So why can you not produce the quantity of food in which you've provided tickets for? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. So I sold 300 tickets for a boat, but did not bring 300 boxes of food. I feel like it's simple enough math where the math should be mathing at that point, and especially if you are a business savvy person. There's actually no excuse as to why you would run out of food when you've collected people's money and have a proper head count of who is going with you and what have you. So, okay. The road experience, we didn't get fed. The drink options, you may have gotten something to drink, you may have not. I want to say the overall experience, 6.2, 6.5 at best for those things that I mentioned. And it's just you spend large quantities of money, whether it be parties there, fetes, the actual parade the parade experience, and you run out of food. You have servers that don't want to serve you drinks, And it just seemed as though like Carnival is built for the influencers. And you know, I'm trying to build my platform not to sit here and abuse the system. I just genuinely enjoy the culture. Someone who is Caribbean American and living in the US, trying to learn more about the culture or the celebrations around the liberation of Black people, people of color in the Caribbean, and connecting more to my history rather than the history of African Americans that reside here in the US. Don't get me wrong, Juve I found to be a very beautiful experience. That was my first time doing a real Juve, so kudos to them for that. And I did enjoy the boat ride itself. But once again, this video is purely on the road experience, the actual carnival for Jamaica, and my thoughts on Gen X and where their pitfalls were, where they can improve. Like I said, this is all constructive criticism. Would I jump with them again? Oh, and let's add this part to the road experience since I'm already in that thought train. There were people who had bikes driving through the crowds. There were cars driving through the crowds. The police did absolutely nothing to make me feel like I was safe. And someone who has only done really like 2 carnivals thus far in total, this being the 3rd one, I was actually in fear of my life. Probably 75% of the time. Because you have random people from wherever in the community coming. I'm all for people coming to experience what's happening. However, not to the point where I feel as though like I can get robbed. Somebody could just walk up on me and go poke or start a fight. And that's kind of how I felt, where their safety rope and their people who were, you know, being security, that they hired at least to hold up the ropes to make sure that the masqueraders stayed in, they were only surrounded by truck 1. Me standing by truck 3 had pretty much to fend for myself. The police did absolutely nothing, as I said. And the overall safety concerns, there were none, which I found quite wild. But you know what? You live and you learn, you do things once. Yeah, Gen X pretty much has tainted the Jamaica Carnival experience for me. Would I jump with them again? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. And I'll just leave that there. If you want to experience it for yourself, I am more than happy to share any other questions, comments, concerns that you may have. But pretty much the general consensus for myself, Jamaica Carnival might get, we're going to put a pause on that. We're going to put a pin in that thought, and we're going to keep it pushing. And that's pretty much how I felt about the whole experience. Comment below if you agree, if you disagree. I'm here for your experience, but for me, the overall consensus was that Carnival, especially the bigger ones like Jamaica, are for the influencers, because you will see them plastered all over their social media pages as if they were the only ones that attended this event, and that was not the experience of the majority of us that did do Carnival this year. Everything from the services to, yeah, it was screaming favoritism. And you know, I respect them because they did build their platform, and I'm all for that, but I'm also here for equity and inclusion when it comes to an already sometimes classism, sometimes racism, colorism, something that's already dividing us as people of color, to further perpetuate that that ideology. So with that being said, like I said, it's your girl Carnival Lucy. I'm here for the shenanigans. And like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Come find me on Instagram. My Instagram is at Carnival Lucy. It's Lucy like the Destra song. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative, and see you guys next time.